In the rural Irish village of Gortnacarrig, a chilling legend haunted the townsfolk. Whispers of sinister leprechauns, or the Malevolent Wee Folk, as they were called, echoed through the generations. These were no ordinary leprechauns, but rather, dark and twisted creatures that preyed on those who dared to enter their realm. The story began with a young man named Maeve O'Sullivan, a curious and adventurous soul. He spent his days exploring the emerald hills and deep forests that surrounded Gortnacarrig. One fateful day, as the sun began to set, Ronan stumbled upon a peculiar circle of mushrooms, a fairy ring. Entranced by the mystical sight, he stepped into the circle, unaware of the ancient lore that warned against trespassing in such places. As the last rays of daylight vanished, Ronan found himself enveloped by a thick, eerie fog. A shiver ran down his spine as he suddenly felt very small and vulnerable. He heard rustling in the shadows, and faint laughter filled the air. From the fog, a group of malevolent leprechauns appeared, their eyes glowing like burning embers. Ronan's heart raced as the creatures approached him, their twisted grins bearing razor-sharp teeth. He knew he had trespassed into their world, and there would be no mercy. The leprechaun's leader, a gnarled, ancient figure named Aelil, stepped forward. He wore a ragged green coat and a tall, pointed hat that cast a long shadow over his malevolent face. Aelil spoke in a voice that sounded like gravel being crushed underfoot. "Ye've entered our realm, boy. A hefty price ye must pay." Terrified, Ronan's instincts kicked in, and he sprinted towards the edge of the fairy ring. The malevolent leprechauns cackled and gave chase, their gnarled hands outstretched, eager to claim their prize. Ronan's heart pounded in his chest as he crossed the boundary of the fairy ring, narrowly escaping the grasping claws of the wee folk. He thought he had escaped, but the leprechauns had other plans. They cast a wicked curse upon Ronan and his bloodline, ensuring that misfortune and sorrow would plague his family for generations to come. As Ronan staggered back to Gortnacarrig, he knew he had unleashed a terrible fate upon his loved ones. The curse of the Malevolent Wee Folk persisted, ravaging the O'Sullivan family for centuries. The villagers, aware of the ghastly consequences, warned their children to stay away from fairy rings, lest they suffer the same fate as Ronan. The O'Sullivan family had endured the curse for generations, living in constant fear of the Malevolent Wee Folk's wrath. Years turned into decades, and decades into centuries, but the curse showed no sign of relenting. Desperate to break free from the shackles of misfortune, the current head of the family, Maeve O'Sullivan, decided to confront the sinister leprechauns and end the curse once and for all. Maeve, a descendant of Ronan and a gifted scholar, had spent years researching the Malevolent Wee Folk, trying to uncover the secrets of their dark magic. In her studies, she discovered an ancient ritual that could potentially sever the connection between the leprechauns and her bloodline. The ritual, however, came at a great risk. One wrong move, and the curse could become even more powerful. Undeterred, Maeve gathered the necessary ingredients for the ritual and set out for the fairy ring where it all began. As she stepped into the circle, the air thickened, and a chilling fog began to swirl around her. The leprechauns emerged from the shadows, their eyes blazing with fury. Aelil, the leader of the wee folk, towered before her. "Ye dare to face us, O'Sullivan? Ye cannot escape the curse your ancestor brought upon ye," he hissed. Maeve stood her ground, the fire of determination burning in her eyes. "I am here to end this curse, Aelil. My family has suffered enough. I challenge you to release us from your wicked grasp." Aelil cackled malevolently, intrigued by her courage. "Very well, O'Sullivan. But know this, if ye fail, the curse will grow stronger, and your suffering will be unimaginable." Maeve nodded, accepting the challenge. With great care, she began the ritual, her voice trembling but unwavering as she recited the ancient words. The leprechauns hissed and snarled, attempting to disrupt her concentration, but Maeve remained focused. As she reached the climax of the ritual, a blinding light erupted from the fairy ring, engulfing both Maeve and the Malevolent Wee Folk. Aelil roared in agony as the connection between his kind and the O'Sullivan bloodline was severed. The fog dissipated, and the twisted leprechauns vanished, leaving Maeve alone in the clearing. Breathing heavily, Maeve realized she had succeeded. The curse was broken, and her family was finally free. She returned to Gortnacarrig with the triumphant news, and the village erupted in celebration. The legend of the Malevolent Wee Folk became a story of bravery and hope, as the villagers praised Maeve for her courage and determination. But deep within the shadows of the Emerald Hills, the Wee Folk still lurked, nursing their wounds and plotting their revenge. The village of Gortnacarrig remained vigilant, knowing that the sinister leprechauns would one day seek retribution for their defeat.